Welcome to the show, Jordan Vandergriff.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. How did the opportunity come up? So I know you just mentioned like off camera that you watched the show growing up, which is super sick, but how did it
come up? Yeah, so like I said, I grew up a fan of the show. I watched it with my mom. And I always dreamt of, possibly doing it, but I was, tell you the truth, I was always in relationships growing up. So, there came a time where I was single not too long ago, and I was watching the show by myself at home, and I realized in that moment that I was single for the first time in a while, and I was old enough now, and I had a job that maybe would be interesting for the show, and I just took the chance. I took out my phone as I was watching the show. I think it was Clayton's season, the first episode. Took out my phone, did the application online, and a few days later they called. So it's been kind of a crazy whirlwind since then, but I'm super happy that it happened. I'm glad they called, and it was great. So a dream come true for me.
So when you say they called, like they literally like, hey, we want you to be on the show, or hey, we want you to start the interview process?
It's the interview process. They called and said that my application had come through, and they were interested in me, so they wanted to start the interview process with me, and all that, you go through a whole long thing, but so they called and it started then, and then they eventually picked me, and I went on the show.
That's super cool. How many rounds of interviews did you go through?
It's quite a few. I don't know if we're allowed to really talk about that, but
sure.
It's quite a few for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So back, years ago, this is probably
were you going to go on one?
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Not Bachelor. So
Okay.
I was reached out to by, there was two. The first one was a smaller one that I don't even think I've heard of since, but Married by Mom and Dad.
Okay.
Was the first one. It was
it.
a Lifetime or like an A&E. I don't know. Some it wasn't like major network. So that was the first one. Yeah. I went through a couple interview processes there, and it was pretty cool. I got to like the semi. Dude, I really don't know if they're dating around or not. What's semifinals? What's quarter? Like whatever.
Yeah.
I got to like the last interview process. Didn't get on that one, and then I interviewed for. And then I was reached out to. I never like cold reached out, but I was reached out to by Big Brother.
Ooh,
and I went through 3 rounds of interviews with them.
Really?
And I was like, I might be able to like get on this.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
That's the one that got away.
That's the one that got away. I don't know, dude. You just never know how your life would be different if.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I have like a beautiful daughter and family now, and it's like, dude, who knows?
Yeah.
But so that's the only reason I asked that. So, but you found out you're on the show. Like, how does that feel? Are you like, oh my god, I'm on the show?
Well, yeah, it's crazy. I think it's funny. You go through the whole process and you're excited about the chance of doing it and things like that, and you're going through the interviews, all that stuff, and it's kind of in the back of your mind, like, oh, this could be a possibility. But I'll tell you what, when you actually get selected to go on the show, that thing hits you like a ton of bricks. Like the second you get the email saying you're picked for the show, you leave this day, I'll tell you what, like, it's like, you really have to put it in perspective, because it's like, oh, am I doing this now? Like, you have to ask yourself, like through the whole interview process, it's like a possibility, and you're like entertaining it. But then as soon as they pick you, you go, oh, like, I have to, like, am I going to do this or not? Like, so then it comes on me. And then obviously, I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, this is too good of an opportunity to pass up. And obviously I had a chance to find love, and, I mean, why not? So I took the chance.
That's so cool. Like everybody who applies for a show is like waiting for a moment like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the moment that it hits you the most is the moment they actually pick you. Like you're not ready for that moment. But
right. How much time did you have from email to like I'm out the door?
I think it was a month and a half.
Okay, you got a little time.
Yeah, so a little bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. I know some other people had less than that or more than that.
For sure, because they're making decisions the whole time.
Yeah.
So speaking of getting the chance to find love, bro, you had a rough go at first.
Yeah.
Your first season of like anything. So, and I know it was like a thing too. Like it was a thing on social. It was trending because like you had this amazing day. It seemed like you were locked to keep going, and then you're out.
Yeah. Very surprising. I mean, well, I shouldn't say surprising, but going on the show, you don't know how it's going to go. You have all these ideas, thoughts in your head, and you're hoping you're going to make it far. You're hoping you're going to find love. And obviously I was very hopeful myself. I was going on it with an open mind and just excited about the opportunity, the experience. And so, it's so nerve-wracking, honestly. Like people don't understand how nerve-wracking it is to do it.
Yeah.
All the whole lead up, thinking about it, the limo, all of that. And so I got out of the limo and I met both of them, Gabby and Rachel, and obviously I was gravitated towards Rachel a little bit, and had a great first conversation with her, and thought it was going good. I thought I might get the first impression rose, but I didn't. I went to Tino, but yeah, I had a great first night. Obviously, it was like the beginning of the journey that I was waiting for. You know, like all the anticipation, all the build up. It like was finally starting.
Yeah.
So I was super excited, and obviously, then getting that first date, I never could have thought that was going to happen either. So yeah, getting the first date, it all started all perfectly. And the first date went perfectly, and then obviously, it didn't. It started to change. But I respect her, and we had a great time on the date. And do I wish that my time on the show went a little differently? I do. That's something I look back on and think about quite often, actually.
Yeah.
But everything's supposed to happen how it's supposed to happen, and it did.
Yeah, and I think silver lining, bro, you were an instant fan favorite after that night. So it's like everybody loved you. It was it was honestly shocking.
Yeah.
But it's easy to be like, huh.
Yeah.
Everybody was shocked.
Well, yeah. I mean, look. I appreciate it. I didn't think that. The Bachelor.
That's not your goal. You're not in the limo on the way home I'm a fan favorite. You're
no. Fuck. That was never my goal. It was just to take the opportunity, meet the two girls, and see what happens. And obviously, the love and affection I've got after the show.
Yeah.
It was great. It's nice to feel loved by the people. Obviously I didn't expect that, but yeah, it's been great. And hopefully my stint on Paradise, they're going to like seeing a little bit more of me. So
for sure.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. So one of the things that I was as we were getting ready for the interview, I was like, man, I was trying to think of what it would be like to be on a date, on a show, cameras. Bro, how does that feel? Cause to me, first dates are awkward in general.
Right. Yeah, no, a first date on camera is definitely a wild experience for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you have all the nerves of a first date like normal.
Yeah.
But you tend to have a few more people around and also listening to you and watching you. So yeah, it's totally different. But honestly, you just do your best to kind of tune all that stuff out and really focus on, in my case, it was Rachel. So really focus on her and focus on the connection that you could possibly build. So it's definitely different. But obviously, I think you have to take the chance and you have to do it. So.
And so, okay, so understood there on the emotional, relational side. But you're also, bro, you're an athlete. You're a professional athlete. The competition side.
Yeah, I think
walk me through that.
I think naturally, I know myself. Naturally, I have a competitiveness in me, and it's always been there, and it always will be there. And I think that, when you get put in a situation where you're competing technically against a bunch of other good-looking, stand-up guys, it's going to come out. But I really tried to tune it out of myself as well. Sure. I just wanted to come in, be myself. I knew that you can't force a connection. You can't. It's impossible to force a connection. So if you just come in and be yourself, I feel like if she chooses you, then that's the connection that she chose. So you just got to come in, be yourself. So that's all I tried to do. And obviously we didn't find a connection the first night. But yeah, so I have no regrets. I just came in there wanting to be myself, and I think I did that.
Now, last question on this part of it, because literally you walked in here and I was like, right back to the well, huh? So I know we can't go too far because it's airing right now.
Yeah.
But what was your thinking? Because you got to choose.
Yeah.
And you were like, let me, let's just see what's there again. Was that kind of?
Well, I mean, coming down, I think, coming down to the beach, obviously, in Paradise is also nerve-wracking, and you're not expecting anything really when you get down there. And I thought there might be a chance that she might be down there. And obviously when I got down there, she was. And so, so it was very surprising. It was a shock to me that she was there. And I just knew that we had a great conversation. For sure. And it was great to rekindle our friendship because we were friends first.
Yeah.
And, when the decision came, when the date card came for me to choose somebody to go on the date, I knew that I was going to have the most fun with Rachel.
For sure.
And I think that was super important for both of us. We needed some time to each other, because we hadn't seen or talked much since our date on The Bachelorette.
Right.
And so when I got down there, I knew we needed the time together. I knew that I would have more fun with her than anybody else.
For sure.
Because I knew her the most. We were friends. And so, I just made the best decision for what I thought for myself and for her as well. So, we went on the date and had a great time.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah.
One of the things, in putting, again, I'm trying to, put myself in your shoes and, go through that. So you're making friends with all the guys in the house.
Yeah.
What's it like? Because you're competing against your friends. Your job on that show is to not go home, send other people home in an offhand way. but these are your boys. Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, coming into the mansion the first night is definitely nerve-wracking. It's definitely intimidating. I mean, I remember, I could tell you a quick story. Like, I got out of the limo, met the girls, walked inside, and I was like, feeling myself. I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm looking good. I'm wearing all black. Like I'm feeling myself. And I walk in and I get in the living room, and Avon is the first person I see. My boy Avon, and he is wearing this like mocha suit, and he is looking. I'm like, I said, you know what? I think I need to turn around and go home.
Oh no!
Like yeah, like
I'm
these guys,
underdressed.
like yeah, like he's here. Like come on, like I can't compete with that. Like come on. So yeah, you walk. It's so intimidating, and then you meet all the rest of the guys, and like they're all super. They're tall, good looking. Everybody's got something they're doing and interested in, and they're all interesting. And yeah, like it's super intimidating. But honestly, I think we get as the guys, you make friends with a lot of them because we're all so similar in that sense. They pick us off for reasons, and so when we get around each other, I think we can relate.
Yeah,
and that's why we become such good friends. Like I've made great friends, like Nate from my seasons, one of my good friends, Spencer up in Chicago, Colin, a great friend, Ethan, Meatball, and Eric. Yeah, like I made a bunch of friends on the show, and I think, definitely, my first Bachelorette experience could have gone differently, but I think what I gained out of it was just lifelong friends. So I couldn't be more excited about that.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
super cool.
Yeah.
And like you said, they all picked you for a reason. Young, talented, like driven, handsome individuals. So you're going to get along.
Yeah, and well, but that can create some divide too.
So that's actually what I thought would happen. That was my initial thought.
Well, I mean, it can, of course, but I think what the difference is, I think it's the shared experience. I think it's everybody's just as nervous that first night. Yeah. And the fact that we're all there for the same reason, I think, that you bond very quickly on the show because you're going through things together. Yeah. So, there could have been some dissension, things like that, but I didn't sense much of it, especially the first night.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, how has your life changed since being on TV?
It hasn't changed much. I mean, I guess I get recognized a little bit more
for sure.
These days. A little bit more. Drag racing, you get recognized by a drag race fan, you know,
sure.
and obviously I've been through that, and at the racetrack, you're signing autographs to and all that stuff. But I think being on The Bachelorette, it definitely changed the type of person that can recognize me, for sure. But it's been fun. When I go to like bigger cities, that's when I'll get recognized. At home, I don't, and when I come home visit in California, nobody recognizes me. But that's really the only thing that's changed. Really, is just sometimes somebody will come up and say, "Hey, are you Jordan?" I'll say, "Yeah," and it's always been great.
Yeah, very cool. And so if you were walking in like LA right now, like if you were in Hollywood, would you get recognized like once a day, twice a day?
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to put a number on it. I mean, maybe once, but I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's hard to tell who actually does know who you are and just doesn't come up.
Sure.
That's the big thing.
Are they staring?
Well, it's just it's. If you're watching this, if you see me, come up to me, say hello. I'd love to meet you. So
yeah, I mean you're like super nice guy,
just
cool guy. Like people want to. Yeah, that's cool. That's nice, man. It's like you actually appreciate like the.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like it. Like why not? Like I want to meet people, and so like I want you to tell me what you have to say and like come meet me and introduce yourself, and I'd love to meet you as well. So. Just I'm very free flowing, like not too worried about myself. So,
nice, man.
Yeah,
nice. Well, bro, how's your life been different? Like, how's like, so, me, I'm a content creator, social media strategist. How's social been different for you?
Yeah, social definitely has been different for me. I think it's definitely been overwhelming for sure. I think that I didn't quite know how to handle it. I still don't know how to handle my socials, things like that. I think the key for me is just trying to be myself. I do think I'd have to produce more, but I don't really know how to go about it. So it's definitely been different. I've been getting a lot of attention on social media. Yeah. But that part's cool. I'm not gonna lie. That part's kind of cool. But it's definitely been different. I think it can only help me in my career and my sponsorship goals, things like that. So it's been great. But I definitely need to learn a little bit more about it. Yeah, man. Maybe you can help me with that.
Absolutely. Bro, I got you. Yeah. I got you. We're doing this show right now. Yeah. Let's get some content for you. Yeah. What are your race plans right now? So I know it's kind of off season for you / you're trying to figure it out. Like what's
Well, the 2023 year just ended last week, I believe. So a little background on my history, or the history of my racing career. My rookie year was in 2019. I obviously grew up watching my uncle race my whole life. So he drove for 20 years before me, and he ended up owning his own Top Fuel team. And I got old enough to where I wanted to try it. So he told me, okay, if you want to try it, you can try it. So, so I made it all the way up to Top Fuel. My rookie year was in 2019. My sponsor ended up leaving at the end of 2019. So that was kind of a big blow for me. Obviously not ideal.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, which was even less ideal. So COVID hit, racing stopped, everything stopped, and it's been very, very tough to find some marketing dollars for my racing career these days. But I think, obviously since my racing career went that way, it obviously afforded me the opportunity to do things like the show and things like that. So I'll look back on my life and think that, everything happens for a reason. So the racing thing might not be going my way right now, but it afforded me the opportunity to do the shows and meet other people and do that. And my racing goals is definitely get back as soon as possible. I think 2024 is going to start in March, and if I can find a marketing partner tomorrow, I could be driving tomorrow. So we're going to look at that. Obviously, it's my dream. It was a dream come true to even do it for 1 year, but it's long term. I'm also looking at racing long term as well, and I definitely want to get 10, 15 more years under my belt, and then hopefully after that own my own team and put younger drivers and further the sport in it past that point. So we'll see, but looking for the right partner. So if anybody out there wants to get into drag racing, you let me know.
So drag racing, that's like your passion.
Yeah. So drag racing, that's my passion. I mean, it's so it's a little niche. I think one of my goals in life is to broaden the sport, make it more known to more people. I think it's so cool. Like it's so hard to explain, but it's the coolest motorsport in the world. I mean, you have to go to the racetrack. I mean, we race all over the country. So anywhere you live, you should be able to go to a race somewhere near you. Come check it out. But definitely come check it out. I mean, they're the quickest accelerating cars on the planet. So there's nothing faster than a Top Fuel dragster.
How fast are we talking?
Yeah, it goes 0 to 330 miles an hour in about 3.7 seconds. But to put it in like real perspective, how I can like relate it to most people, like your regular car, what kind of car you got?
A Tesla.
Oh, you got a Tesla. So it's got a little bit of torque going on.
Yeah,
so it's a little quick. It's a little quick.
Yeah.
I don't know what Tesla's. You know what Tesla 0 to 60 is?
No, I know it'll kick you in the
I think it's quicker. I think it's like 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah,
it might be.
It's not.
That's
slow.
for a Tesla. That's for a Tesla.
Yeah.
So to put it in perspective, your 0 to 60 might be 4 to 5 seconds.
Sure.
Right. My 0 to 100 is in 0.8 seconds.
0.8.
Yeah.
So you're just like.
Yeah,
like
it's G forces. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We feel. I think it's 6 or 7 Gs on the takeoff.
So help me like understand it, because I think just an outsider looking into the sport, you're like, okay, a car races a car, cool,
right?
But what are the nuances? Like, how do you win?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of nuances. I mean, that's from the outside looking in. That's been the biggest critique of our sport. It's you just slam the gas pedal and you go straight. It's like, we do.
There's a little more than that.
But there's a little more than that. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I think the two most important things about winning a drag race is, one, the crew chief. He's got to put the right tune-up in the car.
Yeah.
It's all computerized. It's all CO2 control, all that stuff.
Yep.
So he's got to put the right tune-up for the weather and the track conditions. And then the second biggest thing is the driver, but it's reaction time.
Right.
So the biggest thing a driver can do to win a drag race is leave first. So obviously the lights flash at the same time, but if you leave before the driver next to you leaves, you just give yourself the advantage.
Right.
So if you win like that, it's called a whole shot. So whole shot wins are big in drag racing.
Yeah.
If you get a whole shot win, you feel good as a driver.
Because you did your job.
Yeah, you did your job. You left before the other person. Yeah.
How long is the track? Like, how quickly is the race over?
It's over in 3.7 seconds on average, but it's 1,000 feet. So we get to 1,000 feet in about 3.7 seconds. So I think that's like a little over 3 football fields of a length.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but you're going 330 miles an hour in 3 football fields. So
your job as a driver is that leave. So I know the base of my knowledge is there was a Disney Channel movie forever.
Yeah, right
ago.
on track. Yeah,
there you go.
It's
and it was like, and I know he practiced like the switch.
Actually, it's her. Okay,
it's
her. Yeah, it's about 2 sisters. I actually know these 2 sisters. Okay, Erica and Courtney. Erica is now, I believe, a 6-time champion in our sport.
That's
in pro style.
badass.
She just won her 6th, I think, last week. And Courtney, we're good friends too. But it's based on them. They were heavily involved in making that movie whenever it was made. And I grew up watching that movie too. I think to date, it's the best drag racing movie for us as a sport.
Yeah. From like an education standpoint.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it brought drag racing into the mainstream with Disney and with younger kids. So maybe one day I can make something like that too. We'll see. Yeah.
I like it. I knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That movie's badass.
It's a great movie.
Dude. So is it like that when you're in your is it a cockpit? What is it?
Yeah, it's called a cockpit.
So when you're in a cockpit, is it like that? Is it the switch you're trying to hit?
No, it's not the switch. So I have a gas pedal. I mean, if you've ever driven, do you know how to drive a stick shift car?
Dude, so bad.
Okay, well, do you know the kind of the basics?
Yeah, I know
of
the
it?
understanding.
Yeah, okay. So the best way I can explain it, it's kind of like a stick shift car. It's kind of like a manual.
Okay.
I have a clutch pedal.
Okay.
And I have a gas pedal.
Okay.
Okay, and then I have a hand brake.
Okay.
Okay. So it's
and you're using all three of those.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the Top Fuel car idles so fast, so high, that all you have to do is let the clutch pedal out and it's gonna go.
Got it.
So really, it's just playing with the clutch pedal, and playing with the brake. That's how you kind of control your speed in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then when you're getting ready to go, when you're staging the car, that's what it means when you're bringing it to the starting line. When you're staging it, you go through this whole procedure. You kind of dump the clutch all the way out. You have a whole lot of brake, and then from there, it's just you slam the gas and you go. Like that's it. Like you let go of everything and you slam the gas and you just hold on.
Okay.
And try to keep it straight.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you're just letting go of the brake and hitting the gas.
Same time. Yeah.
And so it's lights, and so it's a countdown.
It's lights. Okay.
Walk me through it, because like this, I'm trying to like see it now.
Okay. So in drag racing, we have this thing called the Christmas tree.
Okay.
The Christmas tree is the lighting fixture that's basically starts our runs. Okay. And it lets both drivers know where the other driver's at.
Yeah.
And when they're both ready.
Okay.
So to go really deep into it, on the top there are two lights, kind of like that make a half circle on each. Like it makes a full circle, but they're two half circles.
Okay. Understood.
So first light you light is called the pre-stage bulb. Okay. So the pre-stage, you get in there, and you light it. So the etiquette for drag racing is, whoever lights the pre-stage bulb first waits for the other person to light their pre-stage bulb. Okay. So what that does is it tells both drivers, okay, we are 6 inches away from being staged. Okay. From being ready to go. Yeah. But you're both, it's kind of like, okay, you're ready, I'm ready. Okay. You know, understood. Yeah. So it lets both of us know.
You're communicating with each other.
Yeah, you're communicating. It's like, okay, you're ready and I'm ready. So from there, it's called the stage bulb, right? So whenever the pre-stage bulbs get lit, both drivers know that they're both pre-staged, that they're both 6 inches away from being ready to go. That's when the whole procedure starts. So as soon as you see both pre-stage, then I go through my procedure. That's like taking a deep breath, making sure the fuel lever's all the way on, which is on my left. Yeah. It's dumping the clutch. Then it's grabbing a handful of brake. You know, making sure the car's not going to move. Got it. Okay. Yeah. It's a whole process. Yeah.
No, this is what I want to know though, because I'm genuinely curious. Yeah. Like, okay, you're in there. I was gonna say you're broken, but you're brake. Yeah. You got your brake.
So I'll explain it. Okay. So as soon as the pre-stage bulb, both of them get lit up. What I do is I'll take a deep breath first and foremost. Take a deep breath.
Yeah. Calm down.
Yep, and then there's a fuel lever to my left, so you'll pull that all the way on. Make sure it's all the way on. It should be almost all the way on already. So you pull it all the way on here. Okay. Yeah. Then you dump your foot off the clutch, so you take it completely off. So the car is like really ready to
you can feel it at that point.
Oh yeah, okay, shake it. As soon as you let off the clutch, it's wanting to go crazy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And you just make sure you have a handful of brakes. You just pull with your right hand. Just make sure you have a handful of brake, because you don't want that thing moving. Right. So you do that, you dump it off. This is all in the pre-stage though, okay? Interesting. And then so how you get to the stage bulb, so therefore then it's both drivers' job to do their procedure and get to the stage, because as soon as both stage bulbs are lit, the lights can flash at any time. Oh, and that's when you go. And that's when you go. So
pre-stage, stage, now you're waiting,
and whenever you're staged, you're waiting to go.
Got it.
So
God, what a roller coaster of emotions.
Oh, it's a lot, but you're so focused on your job that you don't think about it. And obviously, anybody who's gotten to that level has some experience with staging, things like that. Yeah. Okay. You have a pretty good idea of what's going to be going on. Yep. So, so then therefore, the pre-stage bulbs are lit. You do your whole procedure. You bump in, so you just let off the brake a little bit with your hand. As soon as that stage bulb gets lit, you yank the brake back. Yep. Wait for the other person, or the other person's already in, and then you just wait for the yellow lights. So the common misconception with drag racing is that the green means go. Right. But I don't know if you ever seen a Christmas tree before? You know what I'm talking about? Like all the lights?
Oh, yeah.
There's 3 yellow lights. Okay. So we actually go on those yellows. Those yellow lights flash. Okay. And so we stomp on the gas when the yellow lights flash. So what the green is saying is that you're good, like you left on time. Got it. If you get a red light, that means you left before the yellows flashed. Oh. So that's the common misconception. People think that we go on green. We don't. We go on yellow. So when the yellow lights flash, that's when we stomp on the gas. The green light is just saying that we were okay. That the run's going to be good. It counts. Yeah. So if you get a red light, that means you left too early.
Okay, gotcha.
So, yeah.
Thank you, because that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
My knowledge of it was that movie, the Disney movie. So I'm kind of like, okay, remember that, and then remember this. That's so sick though. What's your favorite race story? Like your personal favorite race story?
Favorite race story. I think my favorite race story is probably my first ever race. It was in Phoenix in 2019, my first, as a rookie, coming into it. And I think it was just the day where I felt like, it was just a culmination of like my lifelong dream and having my whole family there and all of that. But I think just how it went, how I felt afterwards, like I went into first round, so a little more drag racing things, but you qualify on Friday, you qualify on Saturday, the race is on Sunday, okay? And so on Sunday, it's a bracket of 16. Think of like March Madness tournament, okay?
Yep.
But there's 16 cars.
Okay.
So 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15. It goes like that. It's just bracket style. But
yep.
So you have to win 4 rounds on race day to win the race.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
So, coming into the first round, I was facing Brittany Force, I think it was, who's a former champion of our sport. And, she, coming into the first round, I was a little nervous. I was like, but I don't know any better. Like, I'm just happy I'm here,
I'm just happy to be here.
And so we ran first round, and I ended up winning that round on my quickest and fastest run ever. My first ever run in competition was also my quickest and fastest ever.
That's incredible.
And still is.
Whoa.
So I think I went 3.69 seconds and 333.4 miles an hour.
Jeez.
That was my first round. So just the fact that like my first ever run was just so good, I think that was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And then I come into second round and I'm racing this man named Doug Coletta, legend of our sport, also won the championship last week.
Nice.
Congratulations to Doug. Long time coming. You deserve it. I'm proud of you. Happy for you. Then I faced him in the second round. He's always been, a legend of the sport and a big deal. Always been a good driver. So I came into the second round in Phoenix in 2019. Ended up lucky enough to beat him too.
Jeez.
So I got 2 wins.
You're on a roll against legends.
Well, yeah, I got 2 round wins in my first race, and I think I never would have expected that.
Yeah.
And so that just set the tone for the rest of my year that year, and obviously had a good year after that. Won a lot of rounds, but my first win has escaped me. I've lost in the final. I've got to the final before. I've lost once. That was a tough day. I think that was my toughest day out of my rookie year.
Man.
I'm itching to get back out there. I know I can do it. I know I can win a race. So hopefully that comes soon.
I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
You know it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. I just gotta,
stay
stay focused, and bring the right people on to support me and further my career. So it'll happen.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about racing?
My favorite thing about drag racing is honestly just the thrill of it. Like, it's so hard to explain the feeling at the racetrack. Like, if you've never been to a drag race, like, you have to go. Like, I'm telling you right now, you have to go. Like, you've been to a NASCAR race, great. You've been to an F1 race, great. Whatever. Yeah. Go to a drag race. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life. It is 10 times louder than you think it's going to be. It's just it's an earthquake. It shakes your insides. It shakes everything. Yeah. It's just such an experience, and I feel like the thrill of it all is my favorite thing. Like, bringing new people to the track is one of my favorite things. If you've never been and I bring you, like, I love seeing your reaction and everything like that. You're like, yeah, it's just so crazy. But yeah, it's just, drag racing, it's so unique. It's so cool. Like, I love it. It's a passion of mine, and I'll never give up on it. So, it's great.
This might be an interesting question, but who's like a dream sponsor for you? Like, manifest it, receive it right now.
A dream sponsor for me? Yeah. It would probably be somebody like Valvoline or something like that. Like a long, standing oil company, or somebody who's been in the business for a while. They used to sponsor one of my favorite drivers growing up called Joe Amato. He was one of my favorite drivers growing up, and they had a great partnership. But yeah, just coming on with somebody who's big and has a name brand that's been synonymous with racing. Somebody like that. Obviously I'm open to anybody and everybody, but somebody like that would be crazy. Yeah.
Valvoline, you heard the man. Come take care of him.
Yeah, come on, man.
He needs a sponsor. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's race. What's on the horizon for you, bro?
Yeah, what's on the horizon is just getting back to racing my whole career and really just spending time with family. I think that's important too. I don't get much time with family. I live in Georgia. My immediate family lives here in California, so. Really just enjoying the moments that life has to offer, I think, is the big thing. I think that's just how I live my life, Any opportunity, any chance that you get, just try to enjoy it. And, that's how.
Your family, your, like, main family's here?
Yeah, my mom, dad, brother, sister, they're all here in California.
Shoot. Is that tough?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I grew up here, living in Georgia now, obviously. But, it's tough. I mean, it's always hard being away from family. Family's always meant so much to me. And I think... being away, it's out of necessity, I think, right now, not out of choice. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's I always try to learn lessons from everything in life, right? And I think what this teaches me is not so much teaches me, but I just know how important I'm going to take my family one day.
Absolutely.
When I have
Absolutely,
one,
man.
and cherish the time that you get to spend together, because it's not going to last forever. So, I think that's just putting family into perspective for me even more than it already has. So, and I can't wait for myself to have my own one day. Tight. So like you.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yes, sir. So it's you are in control of that, your children's like baseline emotional well-being.
Yeah.
So like, for me, I'm like, well, I come from a family of like immigrants and like immigrants and just like emotional, what would you call that? Like it's called like baggage, like generational baggage or generational trauma. So like I think my parents did the work to give us like a shot to like the next generation, this one now can be like a really level-headed, like beautiful soul. And so like to your point, like you want to give your kids the best start.
Absolutely.
And you're probably, it sounds like you're the benefactor of a really good start in life.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of like family and love and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, very fortunate to be brought up in the situation that I was brought into. Obviously, I have a great mother. She is a ball of energy. But she's always been great. I know she loves me very much. And my dad taught me life lessons, always going to work, hard work ethic, things like that. I definitely have a good family. Brother and sister, they're great. Get on my nerves a little bit sometimes, but who doesn't? But it's been great.
As brothers and sisters too.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, that's super cool. What's your support system like in Georgia?
I do have some of my dad's side of the family out there. My uncle lives out there with his 2 young sons. My cousins, we spent a lot of time together. I did have a best friend of mine just move out to Georgia. His name's Austin. I don't know if you've ever met Austin before.
What's the last name?
Weber. I don't think you have.
Okay.
But he's one of my best friends. We've done a lot of life together. We've been roommates a couple times together. But he just moved out to Georgia. He's got his own place down in Buckhead. If you've never been to Buckhead, it's a spot to go to. So I've got a few people out there. I think the thing is about my life, it's taken me different places and things like, it's hard. It's nice having somebody, but if I didn't have anybody, I'd be okay too.
No, but now you have like when you're hungry.
It's nice to have people. Yeah, it's nice to have people around for sure.
What keeps you motivated?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like you're doing a lot right now, and no one ever has to do anything. But clearly, you're on your second show. Yeah. You're looking for sponsors you can get back on there. Yeah. You stay in shape, like you stay working, you stay on your grind. Like what keeps you motivated?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think honestly, I don't know what keeps me motivated, to tell you the truth. Like I really don't. Like it's funny, I've been asking myself that question a lot more lately. It's like, why? And I just think my view on life is very unique. I think I'm just going to try to do the most that I can with this life that we live, and so I never want to look back and regret things like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. I think, I'm going to live life to the fullest in the moment. And I think, I've been obviously fortunate enough to have opportunities in front of me. Yeah. Obviously with the drag racing opportunity, I've been very fortunate in that sense. And so I took it and ran with it, and I think with the Bachelorette thing, obviously I took it and ran with it. Yeah. And the Bachelor in Paradise thing, I took it and ran with it. I want to look back on my life and tell myself, that I did everything that I could have done, and so I think that's where the motivation comes from. It's just, I guess the motivation for me comes from being scared of my future self regretting not doing more.
Man.
Which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I think that's where my motivation comes from for the most part. And I like staying fit because it's fun. I don't know. I enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my like mentors and like favorite people, like favorite podcast, Ed Milet says, worst fear for him is dying, going to heaven, and God saying like, well, here's what you could have been.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I could get teary eyed just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that.
Well, yeah. I think that's a great explanation, but I think that's how I think. I think that's how I think. It's like, if I'm, 60, 70, 80 years old with a family, all that stuff, and it's like, I don't want to look back on my life and say, you know what, you should have tried it. You should have done this. You should have done that. And so, so like my whole racing career is a credit to that. I took the chance. Obviously, people don't understand. It takes a lot of guts to do it. It's all nice and fun, and race car driving seems fun and all that, but it's
hard fucking work.
Well, at the end of the day, you're the person in the helmet sitting in the car, and so you have to do the job, and you have to be okay with the consequences. So I think, it's a lot tougher than what people think it is, for sure.
People glamorize. People glamorize the highlight reel. They're just seeing you as a pro. They're not seeing the time you put in to get there.
Yeah, I mean, race car driving. Like I could be honest. Like the first time I did it in the Top Fuel car, I was terrified.
Yeah.
I got out and I thought to myself, I didn't say it to anybody, but in my head I was like, this is absolutely terrifying.
I don't know if I can do this.
I can't. No, I literally said that. I was like, am I insane for wanting to do this? I said, I don't think I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
But by then I was too deep, and it's like, that's when it's really like the come to it moment. It's like, okay, like, are you going to stick this through or are you not? And, you know, I've always been the person who's like, you know what? I'll stick it through.
Well, you got the right mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, that regret, if you can keep living off not regretting things, it's going to get you doing everything you want to do.
Right. Well, that's what, that's my mantra. That's my motto. You know, I'm going to try to keep doing everything that I can, and any opportunity that comes my way, I'm definitely going to take it.
Yeah. Rock and roll, man. Because I think high achievers like you, like myself, I think that's what comes with the like, that's the way to motivate. Like even today with this podcast, we were talking off camera before this. I was like, I texted you last night. I was like, hey, could you potentially do this today? Because I knew today was going to be a lot harder for me to get it. And in my head, I was like, I was going to text you like, oh, can you do tonight? Can you do tomorrow? And I was like, dude, let's just do it now. Because if I don't get this interview with you, I know I'll look back on it and be like, that was fucking dumb.
Really?
I absolutely.
Why me?
Because you're cool, man. You're like, your life is really cool. Like, genuinely. Yeah. You're a professional, like, athlete. You are on you were on a reality show. You're on another reality show right now, airing right now. Like, it's a cool fucking thing you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I think and it's funny you say that because, like, you're right. Don't get me wrong, you're right. But, like, for me, like, I'm never satisfied. Like, I'm not satisfied, you know?
That's another high achiever thing.
Yeah, like, I'm just not satisfied. Like, everything I've done in my life, it's still not enough. Yeah. And, like, do I worry that maybe that's a problem?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'll worry about that later.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm still not satisfied. I'm still going to do everything that I can.
But that's another key to success. Yeah. Because let's flip the script. I was just sitting right there setting up a camera, and I was like, oh, yeah, we're like a $500,000 six-figure company. You're like, that's great. And I was like, no, it's not.
Well, it is great. It is great.
I need a lot more.
It is great. But can you do more? Yes.
That's exactly it. But, it's cool to think about, but I'm like, no, we need more.
Right.
Like, to me, it'll never be enough. I know there's probably balance there I got to figure out.
Sure.
Blissfully dissatisfied. Another Ed Milet thing.
Okay, I like that.
So, like, you can be dissatisfied, but find peace in it, too.
I like that. But yeah, so blissfully satisfied. That's
keep
nice.
pushing, but also,
nice.
like, try to, like, just so that's how I look at it, too. And you're just too close to it, man. You're too close to your own life to see how cool it is.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when you're living it, it always feels differently. From the outside, people looking at you, like, obviously have their opinions, but...
Like, the show's work, too.
Yeah.
Like, everything's work.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like, everything takes work. That's what people don't realize. Like,
absolutely.
People who... So you say there's critics of your sport, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they haven't done anything.
That's true.
They haven't. True. It takes a lot of work to get somewhere and actually do something.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, okay. I don't know who said this first, but, you know, you'll never be criticized by someone doing more than you.
Right. Yeah, that's a good
because
point,
people
too.
doing a lot are like,
that's a good point, too.
They respect.
And see, I strive to be that person who's not criticizing people because I am doing more. You
absolutely,
know, like,
bro.
Keep.
You're just a good
there's
guy.
Nothing to criticize because, like, you just got to keep working. That's all. That's just keep
you're
working.
a good guy. You're not going to talk shit on someone for no reason. Like,
no.
Yeah,
of course
it's like
not.
you're good people don't generally don't do that. But yeah, it's like, man, when I see people working, so that's why I see you working. Yeah. And I'm like, man, to be an athlete of that caliber, I'm just doing my own calculations, like the Ringer when he's doing, not the Ringer, it's what are they in Vegas, the Hangover.
Oh yeah.
And he's doing blackjack and all the calculations go up. I'm like, so he's a professional athlete. How long did that take him to do it? What did he do there? Like, this needed to happen. He probably put this many like early mornings, this many late nights. Like, that's how I think about stuff. And then I think about the show too, and I'm like, the time he spent like thinking about it, applying, and probably like overthinking and like the worry, and then like being on the show and like. I always compare everything to being like in a roller coaster line. You're like, you know, you're there, you join the end of the line, and it's like, Then you get close to the front, and you're like,
Yeah, you know, I love that reference to roller coaster because I feel like that's how everybody's life goes too. I feel like that's how my life's been. Like, don't get me wrong, like I've had some high highs, but I've also had some low lows as well. But I mean, if I could like, I have this saying, I tell people this, you know, it's going to sound cheesy and all this, but like if you look at your life, right? And I look at my life like as a graph, right? Like you continuously want to progress, right? And so if you look at your life and you start here, right? And you're having your up, you're on an upslope, right? You get to here. well, you might hit a low, right? Okay, you're gonna hit a low point, but you're gonna go back down just a little bit.
Right.
Your low point here is still higher than where you started.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I feel like life for me has just been a graph
Yeah.
of continually ups and downs, but no matter what, my low lows are still higher or still higher than my lowest low. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your present day lows are going to be higher.
Still higher than
last year.
Right,
2 years
exactly.
ago. Yeah.
And
because
it just, yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
It might feel like a low, it might feel like a low in
dip.
the minute as
Yeah.
it's happening, but in reality, you're so much better off than where you really were. So that's the way I look at my life. It's just a gradual process of, continuing to grow.
Man,
So,
who taught you to be like that? Or did you just find
I don't
it along
know.
the way?
I think I just found it within myself. I think honestly, the racing puts it into perspective. Sure. Dealing with death, I think the idea of death, and I know it's going to sound very morbid, but as a race car driver, you have to face it. Like, you have to face the reality of your own demise. And I think that puts life in perspective for you.
Yeah.
Like, you have to say, okay, am I okay with this? Am I okay with that? And so, yeah, that's why I have such a different look on my life. I think the racing has transformed me, and it really did. It's just like, never take anything for granted. Do everything you can, and understand that your lows aren't really lows. You're just living life. You're experiencing it. So, that the racing puts life in perspective for sure.
I'm excited to see where you go, bro.
Yeah, I don't think I'm done yet.
No,
I like to say that
you're also super young.
Yeah.
You got a lot of life to live.
I don't think I'm done yet. I would like to think that my peak hasn't hit yet, and I live life that way. I think I'm still trending upwards.
Not even close, man.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like the peak, like peaked in high school. That saying.
Yeah.
It's like, it's funny. Like people I don't think people like you and I do peak. I think we just keep pushing until
that's a good
day.
thing, right? I mean,
it's a beautiful thing.
But that's the right mindset to have, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you have that mindset, some people will call you conceited, some people call you confident, whatever, cocky.
Whatever.
But whatever.
I've been called
exactly.
a lot of things.
But whatever. Yeah, but whatever. But if I can tell myself that I'm going to keep progressing, then I'm going to keep progressing.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to grow, continue to get better, and that's the way I live my life. So, if other people have opinions about that, whatever,
Yeah.
But I know who I am, and I know how I live, and I'm confident in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, well, dude, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
this was a fun interview.
It was great. Thanks for having me.
Jordan Vandergriff, everybody.